speaker, which is Dr. Jacey, Lynn, Minoi from the Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology. So both of the speakers are actually part of the team of CreativeCulture, and in which they have handled a gamification lab at the faculty. So without further ado, please, I would like to welcome Dr. Fitri and also Dr. Jacey to deliver their module number 3, which is integrating SDGs in research. Please be welcome.
Right, good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming and joining. Yeah, got Fitri too. Okay, excellent.
Good morning, everyone. Assalamualaikum. Thank you for joining us this morning. We are going to go through a few things this morning. I hope you're just as excited as we are. I think I'll let Dr. Jacey lead the first bit of the morning. Dr. Jacey, you want to start with the introductions, please?
Okay, sure. Thank you. So it's going to be like santai-santai today as well. I mean, Fitri and I has been working together in a number of research. And I think I must say both of us have the same sort of molecule. So we may be academician, but just to, you know, as before we start this workshop, we just want all to know that we're not here to teach you, because every one of you are very clever people and smart people, and you're here to listen, to see what others have done. But what we want to share is we want to get you to think. I think thinking is a thing that is lacking these days. You know, we may think that, yeah, we know how to think, but how do you actually think? It's a big word. Yeah, becoming a philosopher, or I'm not so sure, but we'll see. So there will be a lot of thinking for you, not for us, and that will hopefully guide your way through in your research and linking it to the global needs, that is the SDG. The next slide. So these are the agenda. We will share with you some of the experiences from different universities all around the world, top universities. This we have extracted from the reports in their sustainable development centers in different institutions and also from different countries. We will also go through the surveys that you have gone through, but we're not there to judge you. We just want to show you where we are in UNIMAS. There are only 44 participants who actually submitted, but I think we have already seen patterns. Okay, and then there will be lightning jam. Okay, so this is where we will have some hands-on, and hopefully you don't run away. You can bring your coffee and yeah, join the fun. Okay, and lastly, of course, we would have a panel session. So the question and answer, it will not be just Dr. Fitri and myself, but we have all our team in, because they are the runners of the SDG, the runners of the real research in the university as well as the country. Okay, so the next slide, please. So let me just introduce to you our lab. Gamification Center. It was built in, or it was formed thanks to the university, August 2020, last year, such a nice number. And we focus more on developing research and developments in the fields of gamification and learning. And then on top of that, or even before the center was formed, we had a space, we call it the My Capsule space. It's a long name that covers basically the research under the CreativeCulture project, which we earned from the Newton grant, which completed 4 years ago. It's quite a number of years ago, but somehow the project title remains because that's the mother of the whole research that follows through, including Asus after. So the space that we have perhaps it may not be unique to you. You may have seen similar sort of space, but for a computer scientist and for an educationist to think of this space, we're not designers, so it took us a year to actually not to cook, but to think of how the space should be, okay, whereby the space should be able to promote creative thinking, innovation, collaborative work, exploratory play, open learning. And we've done a lot of experiment within the space, which we first thought it may not work, but it somehow worked. And there's a lot of hypotheses that we had were met or perhaps not met, but we found out a lot of outcomes from the space. And the next projects that we recently earned is actually from the UN SDG, that's the Asus Project. It's a long name, so by short is Asus, as you can see what's written on the red font. Okay, so we look mainly on social resilience. I think resilience is a big word these days. If not because of COVID, perhaps one would take it lightly, but because of COVID, you see a lot of gaps in society, whether is it poverty, whether is it job, health, and so on. So how do you actually move forward? How do you actually think about to survive? So when we talk about resilience, we look at the lower level of the pyramid, the Maslow pyramid of life. And as we move up, there are also some sort of resilience in getting you to move from your comfort zone, right? So I take it as those who have joined today's workshop. I mean, we're all learning from one another. We are also moving away from our comfort zone to actually understand what the world is actually foreseeing and looking at. Not yet, Fitri. So yeah, that's the project about mainly on resilience, and our focus is mainly on SDG 1, poverty, 3, well-being, 4, of course, education, and 5 is gender equality. That we have seen in 3 different countries that we're working with, besides the UK, of course. Vietnam and Indonesia are also our partners. Okay, so we focus more on formal and informal education. So we work mainly with teachers, but of course we don't stop with only school teachers, because we believe teachers are the engine to build resilient society, because the future of Earth is not ours, but it's our next generation, if we look at it that way. Okay. Okay, so yeah, money is from the UK, it's not ours, so we have to spend wisely because we'll be audited by the British. Right, the next slide. We collaborate, we have collaborated with a lot of partners, but I think because of this workshop, we talk about our university. So these are our team. If you see all our photos, you may recognize some faces. They are from all the different faculties in UNIMAS. Of course, we started with cognitive science and human development, and then we have FIT, learning science, FLC, new name, Faculty of Language, FK, and then we didn't rope in actually. I think we were approached and they find what we do is quite exciting. And we love to share what we do because it is actually our passion. Yeah. So we got in as well FAB, architecture, creative arts, to look at the Fab Lab. Yeah, of course, we have teams from the engineering, from FSTS, marine science. Then we have Dr. Tan, who looks at solar panels. So we are building an off-grid Fab Lab from a UNIMAS bus that they were trying to get rid of. And then thanks to the university, we've got a bus. We don't decide to drive it around, but it will be a stationary bus located at the Faculty of Computer Science. And this picture that you're looking at is a most recent picture that was taken actually yesterday. So this is where I think I would drop a lot of keywords, yeah, empowerment. So when we got the creative arts to come in, we didn't bag them, but I think we got girl, I call her girl, Haslina. She has been with us for a number of years, maybe a year or two, and that she has seen the passion, our heart. So we have the same sort of heartbeat to certain sort of the work that we do. And and she said she got a group of interns, and they can't go anywhere because of COVID. No company wants them. It's not like they don't want our students, but they just cannot travel. So she managed this group of interns, 12 interns, to actually design the exterior of the bus. So we are empowering not just Haslina. She is passing down the empowerment to the group of interns. We don't decide what we want. We gave them our vision, our mission, and SDG sort of work, and then they are the one who create all this design. Okay, so a lot of works that we're looking. So far we're focusing on only a number of SDGs, but I think the numbers of SDGs that we could actually cover is increasing. So that's how the project has evolved. We are in our second year, and next year will be the last year of the work. Okay, so here we will share with you what we have seen from the survey. I'm sure you all want to see how you have done, but not individual. It's more of a collective sort of results that we get, because we do have questions that says, where are we in the SDG in the university? So instead of asking where are we, it would be interesting to see where are our understanding of SDG, perhaps, or what can we do next? I'll wait for Fitri to share, or is it me to share? Fitri has a better system than mine. If we can go down to...
We have 53 responses.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, so this is the graph for all of the bits on which ones are the most familiar to you. So we found, which is obvious, the fourth one, the fourth SDG, which is quality education. People seem to gravitate towards that. And the second highest is on good health and well-being, SDG 3. Yeah, and the lowest is the last one actually, which is partnerships of the goals. Yeah. Yeah, Jacey, go ahead.
Okay, I think we scroll down to the part that we saw the pattern. All the parts that you have entered, yes, no, I think we've seen, yes, you understand. But this was quite interesting. I mean, if you just look at this, look at the red part, the red shades against the gray-blue shades. I think you can see a distinct pattern whereby more than 50% are actually in a range of I don't understand, or I don't dare to speak about it, about the SDG. Yes, education, quality education, a lot of us understand. This is because we are in education area. So we may be familiar with the term education because we are all academicians. So a lot of us would say, yeah, I can talk about it, but how is it relevant to SDG? That's also another question. You can talk about your research, your work, your coursework, what you teach, but how is it, or how would it links to the SDG? But today is not the talk on quality education. Okay, today is just looking at your research. So if you look at what's at the bottom, look at the range. More than 50% are in a range of, yeah, I do not know. I don't speak about it. And honestly, I'm also in the same range as you. I have to read a lot and really understand where we are. And when we run the project together with the rest of the team from all the different faculties, I learned to understand how they see things and how they relate things to the SDGs. Okay, but don't be alarmed. Don't worry about this. We will see what we can do. I think, in achieving the SDG, the next keyword, besides empowerment, whether you empower yourself and you empower your students or the people around you, is again the thinking. So when we think, what is the process of thinking? So it comes with a lot of reading. How much do we read to actually understand what SDG is? And then that will follow through with action. Okay, this is what we do. Yeah, I'm just sharing our experience. And then the last part, I think the most vital keyword, or the next vital keywords, there will be a few keywords, but we won't throw you a lot of keywords, is reflection. So you reflecting what you have read, you reflecting what you have think about in relation to what you have read in the areas of the different SDGs. And you don't need to just work on one SDGs, you can work on numerous SDGs. And then the patterns that we get to see, let's see, now we have 53. Can we look at the numbers of who is teaching? Mana dia? Yeah, this one, number 26. Describe what you actively work in UNIMAS. So a lot of you are focusing on teaching. Yes, you get to tick multiple, you get to tick on teaching and research, but a lot of you are doing teaching. And this workshop is more on research. And I think when UNIMAS started, there is a heart of what UNIMAS wanted, you know, why UNIMAS was built, is to bring down the research heart into our teaching. But why is the research, numbers of those who actively working on research is low, and it seems like administrative is quite high in terms of percentage. We don't have a lot of administrative positions. In actual fact, we should have X numbers, 10 number of teaching lecturers, and 10 numbers of those lecturers doing research. But why are we having more administrative? And how can we put administrative into research? So I think the heart of UNIMAS has to follow through. That is the research that flows into our teaching, into our administrations, into our consultancy. I'm sorry, I still follow the heartbeat of UNIMAS since it started, because I was actually there in 1996. And that heartbeat made me want to stay in UNIMAS, right? So that's the main responses. The rest are all yes, yes, yes. We all know your answers, but they're not answers. I think it's a nice way to reflect where we are. So that also put me in a position to think, like, how do I put research into my teaching? And how do I move from not knowing to be able to speak about SDG fluently and confidently? Okay, so in the end of the day, it's not what you know in SDG, the textbook, but it's you living it. Okay, so back to the slides. I would share, we all know what UN SDG is. Okay, these were shown yesterday. So I'm not going to go through every single SDG, but I think what really matters is we did say that the world belongs to our children. Okay, there's one reason why I don't want to have children, but I have a lot of godchildren. Okay, because having the thought of leaving the world for our children is a big responsibility. You see, how we treat Earth now is how the kids is going to take it in the future. We hear a lot on global warming. So why global warming? You know, COVID is big, but something bigger that is coming, a bigger wave, is actually global warming. And how are we living the world for our children when it comes to dealing with global warming? So skills, if you look at the bottom, skills to learn to make informed decisions and find evidences in information and real news. We're bombarded with a lot of fake news. And I'm glad it's our parents' generations that are into fake news with their WhatsApp. But as a very knowledgeable people or citizens, we should be able to prove certain sort of information and not just accept information as it is. So basically, processed bawang, all the onions, has to be shifted into talking something more solid, you know, about technical things. You know, I shared this. Sorry, I like to santai ma, so I like to tukar my topic a bit. I remember when I was having lunch with my friends while doing my PhD, our conversation wasn't about holidays, where do we go, how was the party yesterday, you know. The conversation was a lot on philosophical. So why do I believe in my religion? How does my religion leads to believing in, or how can my religion links to changing climate change? So masa makan, we have that sort of conversation. So it's like a webinar sessions, and it's everyday sort of conversations that we have. So I think we should live into this sort of conversation instead of a normal corridor conversations. And the normal corridor conversation should lead to what can we do next? Okay, so our generation is the first generation to end poverty. That's why we're working. Our parents are working. Our generations are working. Is to end poverty. We give the best to our children. But the last generations would have to address climate change. It's like we had this conversation, you know, people don't like us using straw. But it was before, you know, our parents' generation, our generation come up with straws because it's a solution. But when we have too many straws, we are contributing to climate change. We should also think for them, but in the future, they have to think. The children has to think. Okay, so all our students that we will be teaching them, they are the one to have that skills to make decisions, to think, to discern what is real news and show evidences and be very critical in their communications, in solutions. Okay, so everything leads towards climate change. So if you look at all the SDGs, okay, you have different ways of looking at it because it's an end dimension of SDGs. So today will be quite interesting. We're only going to focus on one or two, but climate change is my heart. So I think we will move towards that direction of climate change. And we don't have one slide here that was shared last night, that indigenous people knows or far have known about climate change. We're better than us learned people who reads journals after journals or even write about it and publish it in Nature. But a lot of information, a lot of real knowledge are from indigenous people that the generation today are trying to kill them off. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. I know it sounds really bleak, but I guess that's the reality. So this is where UNIMAS can make a difference. Okay. So UNIMAS is a community-driven university. This is a new tagline recently. Perhaps let's get you all to write in the chat box. When you look at this word, what are the 3 words that comes in your mind? This is where you start thinking. But we are not here to judge your thinking. I think it's nice sort of a process. Because once you get it, you know, we always say, why Mat Saleh are very, very fast one when they talk. Think. But when we talk about food very fast, if I ask you a question like, what do you have for breakfast? Well, very fast, kolomi, laksa. So can we have that very fast when we see UNIMAS as a community-driven university? What are the 3 words? We have solutions for community issues, CSR, rural areas. That's really our strength. Yeah, in UNIMAS, in Sarawak. Legacy, leaving a legacy. We have stakeholders involving community scholars, social responsibility, visibility, bridging digital gap, engaging community-centered inclusion. Wow, all these big words, amazing. Involving rural communities, inclusive sustainability, sustainable solutions for community. I like that word, sustainable. It's also another big buzzword. Yep. So from classroom to community, I like that. Okay, so these are the thing that makes UNIMAS a community-driven university. Going back to the community, collective action, engagement. Fitri, anything to add?
I think what we can see is everybody is into the whole new philosophy that we are trying to push at the university as well. The community-driven university also means that our responsibility to put together what we understand of the communities and then to present it back and to share that and to co-create, co-design with the community. So it's an interactive process, and it's not just from the university to the community, but rather, it goes vice versa. So engagement, it has to be done collectively. Obviously, it cannot be done by one person. So I think we're singing to the choir today, Jacey. I think we can probably go on to the next bits, because I think we share similar concerns and also stands about things. So I think what we have also realized from the things that we've been reading and also the conversations we had with our research partners is that when we're dealing with SDG goals, we have to make sure that no one is left behind. Yeah, everyone that we want to address in whatever target groups that we are dealing with, we would like to address at least the most furthest in the goals that we have. So how do we do that? That is the challenge, actually, and this rests on us being able to decipher literature and to make sense of all that. I think Prof Zainab has raised her hand. You want to unmute yourself, Prof?
Yeah, can everyone hear my
Yes,
voice?
yes, of
All right.
course.
I just quite intrigued with the survey that you have done on the Jacey mentioned about the percentage in UNIMAS on the certain percent on research, education, and one of the percentage is on administrative. Well, there's I don't know what is the connotation with that percentage because is UNIMAS leading to more administrative posts? just this is my concern. Is that too many people having holding the post that leading them to decline the percentage into research and education? Everyone is teaching, so I'm not going to touch about that one. So research is the main thing, because number of PI is not up to the expectation by UNIMAS. So will that you are indirectly saying that, come on, UNIMAS, reduce number of posts so that people can that's my something that I'm thinking of. So probably any comment on that one, Jacey and Fitri? Thank you very much. Anyway, I really hook up with this workshop because it's really amazing, interesting. I like it. Okay, over to you.
We're not even we have not even started yet, Prof. I hope you'll stay with us for the next 3 hours. We have a lot of things in store for you guys, so I hope please don't go away and play with us today. Yeah, so we have a little bit of a thinking hard, but actually playing at the same time. So can I just respond a little bit on your comment? That I think there is one on strategic focus ketiga kalau tak silap yang about talent development, where there is a statement that says more administrative posts should be given to the yang PPs, ya. Jadi saya rasa itu should be something that be pushed even further. The PP should be a bit more, I think, given responsibility to hold all these positions, because that would enable the rest of us to do what we need to do. Ya, yang kita punya course patutnya research. Yang research akan drive what we do in the classroom and what we do in terms of consultancy and all that. Jadi the spillover has got to be done in a coherent way, and we can't do it coherently when we are bombarded with many other, responsibilities and all. Yeah, Prof Zaidab. Yeah, angkat tangan lagi. Yes, silakan.
Yeah, so I think I agree with that. Just that, I've been hearing people say, I cannot do mass research now because a lot of work, morning, afternoon, nighttime meeting, even now is everything online. So the meeting sometimes up to late hours. So that's why is there this workshop giving a hint of, come on, UNIMAS, probably we make it as mentioned by Fitri, PP, whoever they are. So probably that's something that we can think of.
I think it's not up to us to decide kot. We don't represent the university management at all. And we are just regular people trying to do research and trying to do it well. And we hope that there is a perspective from this conversation perhaps, and we should scale up this conversation to bigger, better venue where it can be heard. But in this webinar, we're not trying to do that. We're not representing the university management at all. Probably someone will kill me after this one. We do what we can lah. We do what we can. Tapi ini yang kita nampak lah. Kalau I think terlalu banyak administrative post di-hold oleh academics, it takes us away from what we really need to do. And we've been trained to do research and administration and what have you. Jadi sayang kalau tak boleh kan. So so the next the slide that I'm showing you is about what Mohamad Gandhi said. The true measure of any society can be found in how it treats its most vulnerable members. Jadi when we are doing research, are we addressing this? Are we addressing the people who are at the end of the food chain? Bagaimana kita ensure that we are we're sensitive towards what they need and how they could maybe grow and expand as to where they could be. You have another comment from Zainab?
No, but just go on because I just linked to my head that why is that, probably that's the answer why we cannot achieve number of PIs what we expect. Maybe this is one of the reason that I think the value is really is important as indicator, not to justify why we not achieve, but I think that's the reason why. So no objection for that one. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Jacey, shall we go on to the things that we've read? Probably we can share a bit with them.
Sure.
Yeah.
So thanks, Prof Zainab. I think that's a good point. So you see from there, you can come up with a lot of research questions. So I'm going to share some of the work that was done in different universities. I can be quite biased. I tend to pick from my former university because they just started a sustainable development center as well. But anyhow, we'll start with smaller SDG because this is what we usually do in our own niche area. So if we want to look at, well, there are works that looks at how to end epidemic and infectious disease. So they're looking at building materials, nanomaterials. So it's no longer just studying the life cycle of the disease, like COVID. So it has stepped forward to studying the complexity of the life cycle of the disease, and then all the treatments. I think we all know this. And then how do they actually do a mathematical modeling, and how do they link it to the economic of things? And actually, if you look at this last paragraph, these are just cut and paste documents. So I let you read on your own as well. Okay. So one who are in the infectious disease center would just link it to their SDG as well-being, good health and well-being. But those who works, their team who works together with those who are in the economics, because you know how the pandemic could actually destroy the country's economy. So how would that link? Because that is what actually the state is also looking at a couple of months ago. That's why the decision that was made with not having to look at or to test those without any or those asymptomatic, even though you have COVID, but you don't have symptom, we're not going to test you, and then you will not be added into the numbers. So there are reasons to why they're doing this. So I'm sure they too have an economist. But anyhow, coming back, this is one thing that is quite interesting, because I find that even in UNIMAS, we have team that works on this, but they are not even being mentioned, you know, how they use smartphones, perhaps to track diseases like ours. Aedes is one of the main ones. So these are few examples, things that are done, which are quite similar to what we have. And I am sure in UNIMAS, we have research that have done a step higher. Yes, Jonathan, I'm gonna like remove you from the annotation. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. STEM. This is one that we do quite a lot and in the gamification center. So there are many labs and rooms and competitions that they have built, mainly to build agents of change, ambassadors. And who are these ambassadors? It could be lecturers themselves. It could be teachers. It could be students in university. STEM is a big word. Apparently, I was listening to this webinar, and we have been using STEM loosely. And only in the UK recently, they started using the word STEM. They use a long term, you know, a name, science and technology, engineering, or math, because all these are seen as individual compartment, which of course then they lead to working together in a university, you know, interdisciplinary with schools and so on. So yeah, so STEM somehow, it's a very global south term that we have bring impact to the north in using it. So you see, invention room, unique space. We have this in UNIMAS, and we have also what was built by CAM, all these invention rooms. So all this leads to the SDGs. Then you have challenge. The invention room also linked to the maker space in the Faculty of Computer Science. See, so how can we use the space effectively that can create more ideas, innovate more ideas, and so on? Okay, make a challenge. Here you work together with local young people. Those of you who have teenagers or kids that joins a lot of competitions like Young Innovates, Junior Innovates. So these are done by companies. How can we work together with them? How come we not have one? But again, sometimes you don't need to reinvent the wheel. When we talk about SDG, we need to work with industry or entrepreneurs that have done it. And then we move forward. Okay, this is where I think Fitri and I have a heart on women's leadership program. We look at women because women are not supported. Well, I can't say not, because somehow they are supported, but not fully supported. Okay, so how can we get them involved, because they can make a difference? Okay, the next slide, I'll go faster now. See, so you see how it links to the SDG. Managing rainforests and global crops. Rainforest is what we have. And this, I don't think that this is done by Imperial. Okay, so they've worked with Malaysian Borneo. I'm not so sure who they work with. I can't find names. So they look at the tropical rainforest functions and how it changes because of our oil palm plantations. But why is UNIMAS not in? Why are we not doing this when this is actually in our own backyard? And all our conservation works. You see, these are done in literally almost Imperial College does this together with a lot of different universities in different countries. And they're also looking at agriculture productions. Our main source of income in Sarawak is actually agriculture, timber, all our natural resources. And then knowing that our world population is increasing, are we going to always buy food? Can we actually find ways to produce crops sustainably? And I think one keyword is resilience to climate change. See, these are the works that are done. They have moved forward. We're studying, participatory study is just one. We need to think 4, 5 steps ahead. So they're looking at methods in not just innovation, in how can they innovate to ensure sustainable crops or products, and how it can be resilient to climate change. See the different stages way ahead of where we are thinking now. And they're even looking at microbials, candidates or products or natural resources that can be added into agriculture. Okay, so these are the few things that we can think about, or you can see how they have moved way forward than how we see things. Okay, and the next slide. I let you look at the SDG because that's how it links to the SDG.
There's a comment from Sharafina in the chat.
All right.
Yeah, it's about empowering women. Yes, in some sense, we have looked at 26,000 data that we got from teachers who are currently teaching in Sarawak. And surprisingly, we ran this at the earlier part of the MCO last year because we wanted to find out how ready teachers are in terms of teaching during the pandemic. And the surprising finding that we found was that the teachers acknowledge the role of mothers, for the learning access of their kids. So it's not necessarily about the technology, about the internet connection, about how many smartphones you have at home, blah blah blah. No, it's about how mothers are playing their roles at home. Jadi this is just an example of empowerment. Jadi what are we doing? Kalau kita tahu, what are we doing to enable this to happen in a more effective manner? So this is, I think, the conversation that we would like to have with you today. In that, how do we string this to make it to become a coherent solution? So besides just looking at the fundamental problems, fundamental issues about the science, it's also about how to relate it to the well-being of the people who are living it. So these are some of the issues that we hope will come out from our activity that we will have with you today. So the next slide, Jacey.
Okay. These are quite interesting. If you know the SDGs, they have this SDG index ranking, and Finland, Sweden rank the top 2. So what actually have they done? This is just a very quick Googling. They are already moving into consumerism. So they look at using innovative green consumerism products, like plastics that I do not know. I'm not familiar with all this. Maybe green plastics. I do not know if there is such thing. So they work with industries, or perhaps they are from the academician who move out and see the values. Like how your Pfizer, when your vaccine, how they have moved out and then still come back to working together with the university and the society. So that is done at the Helsinki Sustainability Center. So they work with even politicians, make a difference, and then increase the economic status of Finland. Okay, and I think I don't want to have my hypothesis in here, but let you have a look. And then the next one, Aalto Sustainability Center. I think this is in Sweden. So I like this because they're looking at abundant materials. All our shirts that we're wearing, the least we could do is just any longhouses that are burned down, then we give all our clothing. But they are taking this and giving it a new life. So what is the new life to these materials? So how can it be a solution? How can we how can they sustain Earth by not having too much of these materials, or maybe use these materials for something else, solutions? Okay, because when we talk about baju, I've watched this documentary, like all of us, all our baju colorful, all the genes. These dyes are actually very poisonous, I think, even for the community that lives around the factory, as well as for the water. So how can they come up with solutions for all this? So I'm sure in Sweden and in Finland, it's not such a big sort of problems, but this sort of knowledge can be passed down also to other parts of the countries and world. Okay, so they link it to climate change and so on. So have a look. You can actually Google and see what actually they do. So they are already looking at a different sort of SDG. Okay. Next is Austria. Austria, this is a study that was done. There's a lot of study done by different university that addresses sustainability topics. So some are compiling the work that was done in a country as well as university, what are the scientific projects, and how it links, how the SDG actually works and linked together. So it's not just underwater, it's just one SDG, but how underwater and economy, poverty work together in gender, so they are trying to have the interdisciplinary of study. So Austria has done this as well. I think Fitri has read this paper. Did I miss any more important information?
We thought that this is going to be a good nudge for maybe REC to sort of map what are the sustainability projects, or even USC. Maybe you guys can lead this. What is it that we've done collectively as a university in terms of the initiatives dalam research, for instance, ataupun maybe dalam community outreach programs that you guys are handling. So and which SDG are we addressing in those projects? Jadi it would be nice to have the visualization of efforts across the university. So this has been done before by other people. Jadi we thought it would be nice to show an example of how it's done.
And that also leads to the rest as well. This one.
Sorry. One links to what Floriana was talking about yesterday. Because when she started her talk yesterday, she was talking about when she was in Denmark and how she found people were living. The life where they are taking care of the planet. If you've been to Sweden, if you've been to Copenhagen, those of you who have traveled way up to Norway, you can see that a lot of people are cycling. They're not even using their cars. Jadi this is already a way to reduce carbon emission in naturally, and then people can still get from one place to another. Obviously dekat Kuching susah sikit nak buat kot sebab banyak sangat pothole. Tapi with research, with data, I think we can advise the local government as to how this could be done. Jadi to encourage not just macam tutup India Street for satu Sunday sebab orang nak cycling, but rather make it to become like a habit for people instead of driving cars and to cycle actually from one place to another. So there's a lot of lessons out there that we can learn, and I think this is what got us to this. Jacey, you want to explain this? You're mute.
Yes, thank you. Fitri can add this later. So I think this is, the universe is not about me lah. We are used to everything revolve around you. But I think when we talk about the SDG, it has to be, Earth is round. Earth is not in a triangle or a square shape. There is a reason why God created Earth is a sphere. Okay, it's not flat. So everything around us has to work together, because that's why we are an ecosystem. Without one another, we will not survive. And I think human has done a lot of damage perhaps over the years. Well, it's not a bad sort of damage because it's development, but I think it has to work in line with sustainability. And again, must have the heart of, I like the word compassion, loving nature. As we grow older, this is what I notice. That's me, like having to love gardening. Then I stopped gardening now and I start walking. And I think seeing what we can do to make a difference to what is around us, not to human, but what we can give back to the world. This is Fitri mentioned about the visualizations. Yeah, this was done by the ICL, Imperial College London Global Development Hub. So they have compiled all the works that was done in the college, how it links to the different SDGs, a very nice sort of mapping visualization. So we can challenge this to the two centers and see how they could come up with this. I think collecting data from us is just one, but I think you don't need to. There are already papers. You don't need to interview and asking us to fill in more questionnaires. It's how you collect data. Again, this is data analytics. No need to ask us, no need interview. Everything is already there. But I think I want to highlight one SDGs that they are looking at is the partnership. Their role has changed. Their role is not on collecting data, data analytics, building things that looks nice, but their role is more on partnership. How can they link the work of researchers to industries, to government, our role as an academician researchers to changing policy? But is the role of the center, is the role of a higher level management in the university to create this partnership? Of course, Dr. Fitri can go out and create partnership with government and changing policy. But I think we got to ensure that we are not jack of all trades, masters in none. We are good in research and we should focus more on research. And perhaps this would answer administrative roles while we're having high number of administrative roles. So if they are going to focus on SDG and they are not going to look at research, look at these different roles, perhaps. Okay. So yeah, next slide, I think. So we're gonna give you some scenario, a case study scenario. So we're gonna look at gender equality. That's something very big in Malaysia. And then links to climate change. Yeah. So this is our niche for today's workshop. Okay. So our issue. So we all know what happened in 2008. And it has been downhill since then. And then COVID added in more of this downhill. Okay, so we talked, that statement was given by a lady, a philosopher, one of the lady, a researcher. Okay, so I think it was quite interesting. The next question is, women do not participate in labor forces at the same extent as men, and they earn lesser. I think you can see this in the university. Those holding, I'm not going to question, we are not here to judge. This is the reality. Whether in the university, in industry, in the world, they're all the same. Okay, so you see who are, just count, simple counting, simple math. How many in the top holding positions and so on. So if you were to ask them how much they earn, and if you individually have a survey with them, even those in the industry, you will notice they earn lesser. And we have proof for this, even papers. The next one is quite interesting. Women in poorer countries fail to make economic and social progress. And I think those of you who does a lot of research has gone into rural areas, fishing villages. Fitri and I will always go into Penan village. We notice this. But the women are the one that is pushing for economic, to earn money for their kids, because men, when they get money, they spend on drinking, cigarettes for themselves, and then bring the leftovers back to the family. Whereas women, if they earn, it will make a difference because they think for the whole family. And also for the social progress, women would talk to women. I'm sure if you watch documentaries, in a fishing village, I mean, this is based on the documentaries that I watch. The man goes fishing, come back, legs up. It's the women who does the next job and still having to take care of families. So women in poor countries really fail to make this. That's why you have the fair trades. I'm sure you have heard of the fair trade. If you have not, you go to some kedai lah, beli tea, then you see a fair trade punya logo. So what actually it means, okay? So the impact of it is, if women were given the right sort of role, it will make a lot of difference. So we see a numbers of outcome in Sweden. Women spend more time in looking for informations on sustainable consumptions, lifestyle alternative. You know, women, mothers can find this is cheaper, worth the value. This one, 20 ringgit. Why should I spend 50 ringgit unless we have Dr. Tan here lah? Dr. Tan not here, so we were talking about this as well. Females recycle more and eat organic food because they see it's the family that they are feeding. Japanese, if you think, oh, these are all Western, but Japanese women are more concerned about the environment and are willing to pay on sustainable products. Yeah, so example, cut down in carrying expensive bags. Women are more likely to be affected by environmental problems. I think this we have seen a lot. Those who goes on the ground, when kids are not working after studying, education is important. As long as the women has the right mind, mothers, they know they have given the role, they know education is important. But then when the kids are not working and then come back, they are affected socially, their roles, the status, having to still feed them, and then they know what's going on with the environment. I just make it very general. Okay, so they are there to do a lot of things. So I think, yeah, I have a lot, but I try not to squeeze too much because I think, yeah, this I will leave it to Fitri to say.
All right, so in sum, what we're trying to present to you today is that we think that if we want to use any of the SDG goals into our research, we want to integrate them into our research, besides just looking for the problem, this icon is for problem, because obviously bila kita tahu a problem, kita tahu there's many more that leads towards that problem kan, so it's an iceberg. Bila kita frame kita punya what do you call it, the problem itself, immediately think about impact. Yeah, because when we want to be sure that the research goals that we have specific impacts, yeah, yang kita boleh ukur, kita boleh tengok, kita boleh observe at the end of the research project. If we design it right from the very beginning, then it would lead towards the kind of conversations, the kind of interactions that you will have throughout the project. Yeah, so this is where the project builds up. And the conversations here is very important in that if we can enable many people to be part of the conversation and to come up with tasks in which we empower people, yeah, to want to use their skills, to want to use their knowledge in the way that it will be beneficial for you know, the good of many. Jadi it's not just for one person, but it's actually for, you know, the community in which they are living in or they are serving. Jadi in the research process, it's very important to have this iteration over and over again. So from our experience, you know, working with the UK, because they are our international, one of our international partners, and they basically were sort of like responsible for the theoretical grounded framework, yeah, for the project. But in essence, yeah, when they come up with ideas as to how we should go about, yeah, running the project, a lot of times we have had to scale down or even change, yeah, revise a major bit, yeah, in the idea, because we knew that we brought this down to people, yeah, ataupun kita bawa keluar ke community, it would not make sense. It would not make sense. It would be translated differently. It would be interpreted differently, and if that happens, that means our data would not be good. So if the data is not good, how do you come up with, you know, a solution that will be relevant to the people. So this has been an ongoing struggle, to be honest. People think that we have international grants. Oh, seronok lah dapat kerja dengan orang overseas. No, it's actually a different challenge altogether. Jadi there's a lot of meta-analysis of understanding of concepts and how you sort of articulate it to make sure that your partners understand it, and also you know, the people that you're going to be working with would, you know, see the relevance of it. So it's not a matter of coming out with a, you know, 40-page questionnaire and then to go down and to collect data. It's more of trying to understand what is the essence that we want to capture, and how is this, if we capture it, what is it that we're going to do with it. Jadi banyak, you know, yang surveys yang we have analysed, you know, there's a lot of people yang tend to collect data yang tak perlu, yang mungkin tidak ada relevance kepada what is actually needed. So these are the things that we would like to nudge you to think lah, macam mana kita nak make our instruments relevant, and that it will address things that, you know, the group that we're meeting, you know, it will be relevant for them. It will be contextually relevant for them. So from these conversations, it would obviously lead towards you know, a synthesis of ideas, and hopefully this will be articulated in some kind of an impact that we can see at the end of the project. From our experience working in ICT, as you know, Jacey and I are part of the Institute of Social Informatics under Prof Elvin dulu, and then now with Prof Nara. There's a lot of uncertainties bila when we go out to meet people in the rural communities. Like for me, I was born and bred in Kuching, you know, I don't have a kampung, you know, so to go to a kampung is a huge deal for me because I'm not used to it. Jadi that in itself is really a big leap of faith, to be honest. Walaupun I have a master's, I have a PhD, you know, tapi saya rasa sangat kecil bila when our own experience bila kami pergi ke Long Lamai, kampungan Penan, I thought that we would be going there to teach them, but when we got there, we were actually being taught. So it was a huge turning point, masa belajar untuk communicate, and also to understand how people actually live, what are their beliefs, and how those values actually are imposed in the way that they live. So, you know, even the way that they catch fish, you know, they don't just catch fish for the sake of, you know, just nak makan, you know, they have a way to look at the moon, the way they look at how calm the water is, you know, all those things. And these things I didn't learn this in my science class, you know. So these are some of the things that are you know, completely unique for me, and I think we should, you know, collectively understand this and try to make sense of it, and try to, you know, capture and try to know what are the things that from this kind of knowledge yang boleh benefit maybe another community perhaps. So this is what we're trying to say. Kalau kita nak tengok kepada SDG ni, it's not just letak label SDG dalam kita punya proposal, but rather kita tengok from that fundamental issue dulu, yang apa yang kita nak investigate as you as the expert in the area, and then you start, you know, maybe venture out, expand that idea, talk to people who are maybe not within your particular area per se, and to see what are their perspectives about that group of things that you are thinking about, and to brainstorm to think about how do you make this relevant for the people who are within that environment. So from there, then we can, I think, try to see what kind of impact that we can bring. So the impact can be small, it can be big. It's really up to, you know, the context, and also obviously the people that we're going to be interacting with lah. It's not a matter of like, oh, kalau pergi ke Baram, it's going to affect everyone in Baram. Maybe not good. Yeah, so Sharafina, yeah, I'm reading your thing. Definitely. It's a matter of, I think kita kena buka kita punya dialogue dengan many people from different disciplines. Yeah, many people from different disciplines. We need you to be an expert in your discipline, but I think kalau kita nak tengok SDG tu berkesan ataupun tidak, particularly kalau dalam konteks we want to be a community-driven university, we need to also understand how we can use our network of knowledge in the way that it will be relevant for the communities that we are addressing. So that's in essence what we would like to be able to do today. So yeah, so this brings us to the breakout. We want to do a bit of a breakout. I think we have 40 people, Dr. Shafiq,
Yeah,
today.
betul. 43.
Yeah, 43. Minus kita lah kot. Ada dalam 40, I think.
Yes.
Maybe we can break up maybe 4 group, boleh tak, Dr. Shafiq?
Boleh,
Can you
boleh,
do a
boleh.
breakout room
Boleh,
for?
Doktor.
Yeah. So what we would like for you to do is just sit in the room, try to brainstorm. We're going to give you about 15 minutes to talk to each other, introduce yourselves first, talk to each other, and then to come up with an idea. Yeah, what is it that just a short idea of an collaborative research project that you can think of. It can be really simple, it can be really straightforward, tak apa. But after the 15 minutes, we're going to bring you back here again, and we would like to for you to pitch your idea. Kita nak tengok mana satu idea yang kita akan work on in mural. So we have prepared a mural for you. We're going to all be going into mural after this, and and then we will break down that idea. So 4 group, so 4 ideas. Yeah, come back in 15 minutes. And introduce yourselves, tell people what you are doing, and then just brainstorm an idea, and then come back to us again. Is that all right, guys? In the meantime, you can take your coffee break sekejap.
I'll open all the rooms now, Dr. Fitri.
Yeah, silakan.
All right.
Yeah, silakan. Yeah. Thank you, Rafia.
So we just wait here. Assalamualaikum. Good morning.
Waalaikumsalam. Good morning.
Okay. Masuk breakout room. Blur sikit lah. Just perlu perkenalkan diri. Perkenalkan diri dulu. To each other. Maybe your name, your faculty, your program, and maybe some of the research that you are doing currently.
Okay. Saya dululah.
Yeah, boleh. Saya pun nak jalan-jalan pergi room lain ni. Ya.
Okay.
Alright. Silakan mula-mula.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya Dayang Norafizan binti Awangci daripada from Faculty of Resource Science and Technology. I'm doing on something related to the water treatment, specifically using membrane. So that's just my research area specifically. That's all from me.
Hi everyone. Assalamualaikum. Selamat pagi.
Waalaikumsalam. Selamat pagi.
Dah start kah? Dah start discuss?
Belum.
Belum. Okay, maybe everyone can start to introduce yourself to each other. What you are currently doing for your research. And maybe after that, everyone can discuss regarding the mural yang Dr. Fitri ada bagi tahu tadi lah. Boleh ya? Mungkin Dr. Dayang Erna boleh start, Dr. Dancy, lepas tu boleh sambung. Okay, Dr. Dancy. Okay.
Okay, boleh.
Okay,
Assalamualaikum everyone. I'm Dayang Erna Zulaika. You can call me Dayang Erna or Erna. So I'm from Faculty of Medicine and Health Science. Just got back from my study.
Technology. So yeah,
maybe one of the point is woman empowerment. That means macam gender equality macam tu ke? That means the woman's idea also being heard. Tapi ada seorang kat sini non-woman kat situ, Sarafina, dengan seorang lagi yang tu bukan woman tu.
Kesian Syafiq.
Oh. So betul lah, memang dia relate to SDG 5 lah, gender equality. And then
kalau macam tadi Khatijah ke your area on entomology kan? So entomologists in the world mostly men ke? So how actually women can
mostly men lah.
So how you get
But
into
anyway,
this is also empowerment.
Yeah. What I do, I have a KTP punya, I pernah ada lah KTP punya research previously lah dulu. But we do, this is more on the how to go against dengue kan. So what we do is we do community empowerment because that one is community empowerment, but I'm not sure.
Is regarding the land gazettement or what?
Okay, in that Sarawak Gazette, it covers various of theme. Okay, like for the land, it's also included in the Sarawak Gazette, because Sarawak Gazette is it's like the old newspaper. Is this established since 1840, if I'm mistaken, since Raja Brooks came to Sarawak. And then that gazette berterusan sampai, until 1930s, if I'm mistaken. Okay, so besides the land, it's also covered about the agriculture, about the ke-17. Di sini macam 17.
17 sana. Dia banyak area. Kalau saya
we select kan apa 2-3 di SDG that we want to relate kan.
Betul. Banyak tu nak kena tengok balik kot cik. But Jane, sekejap dia ada banyak. So kita nak cover yang mana sebenarnya ni? Yang zero hunger tu ke? Ataupun yang environment punya nak cover yang tu ke? Equality, gender equality ke?
Macam lagi senang kalau kita cover yang environment sebab boleh banyak research move into environment kan? Kalau research
saya ada idea pasal environment just like that's my macam berkaitan lah.
Betul. Setuju.
Okay.
home environment, is it something to manage waste ataupun macam kita nak relate tu?
Rasanya as simple as recycling pun dah dikira environment kan.
Betul.
So how we in the chemistry department yang handle the environment?
Ada si Syamuddin tak?
Ada seorang left ya, siapa nama Jonathan ke apa kah?
Oh, yang left tak kah?
Kalinya pun connection kot.
Ada connection problem kali.
Macam
And seorang
kami-
Swikyong tak nak? Swikyong nya went to a different room tadi.
Okay.
Oh. Tapi
Kami
Syamuddin
macam-
tak? Saya dah.
Check dulu. Mesti ada dalam list sekali. Tadi yang ku tahu Dayang. Kayak Dayang. Ya, sebelum kami cut off sebab kami terpaksa setting balik kami pun iPhone.
Oh, I see.
Kami
So, apa
on
kita
the
nak
road
discuss tak?
Kami mau pakai Miro dah. Kami
Apa
pakai
kita nak
Miro.
discuss tak?
Apa mau discuss kita pun idea lah apa yang apa di pada Dr. Fitri TL.
I'm here. You can ask me.
Oh yeah, okay, Dr. Fitri. Hello.
You don't have to go into mural yet. Dalam breakout rooms ni, you just brainstorm dulu an idea, and then we will bring that back to the main room. And then you be pitching lah your idea. So dalam 4 idea kelak, kita akan pilih sikit ajak lah untuk yang akan dipakai dalam mural.
So the idea that we need to talk about is how we can incorporate macam SDG into our research macam ya.
Macam sikit research idea lah, macam katakanlah you want to go to say Bario katakanlah, to look at women health dekat Bario, and then Dancy can come in and see what are the things that she can bring in to that that project based on your expertise, Dancy.
Alright.
Syamuddin can add on to that lah, jadi it becomes one project tapi nya ada interdisciplinary sort of barang lah.
Okay.
Boleh?
Alright. Boleh. Thanks Dr. Fitri.
No problem.
Alright. So macam kita pun bidang apa tak?
Kami pharmacologist. So kami
as Dr. Jacey mentioned earlier on, I think that agriculture is one of the main income for Sarawak, apart from tourism.
Dr. Fitri, hangat ni. Room 4 hangat sudah.
Sudah ditarik balik.
Very good. Very good. Now, welcome back to the main session. So we're going to spend a bit of time. If you need to get your coffee ke, please do so ya. Kita nak dengar wakil from every group kalau boleh, to pitch your idea. Jadi from these ideas, ada 4 idea nanti from the 4 groups. We are going to choose only one before we go to mural. So the mural is ready, but I haven't given you the link yet. So saya akan bagi after we have finished voting. So kita akan vote from here. So can I have the team from room 1 dulu, please? Can you pitch your idea? Room 1. Semua tak nak ngaku ya. Aina, Dayang Norafizan, Farida, Bimala, Jonathan, Rosita, Stephanie.
Hello, hi. Jahat diorang tau.
Silakan.
Okay, Aina here. Actually, I tak tahu I actually in room berapa. So since you are calling my name, so I think I need to speak up on behalf of the team.
Okay.
So
Yes, Aina's very good.
No, not very good. We have a discussion just now combining 2 different fields of study, which we are in the FRST combining with the people in the FIT. So our idea is that we are going to do a water treatment, even though it sounds simple, but we are focusing on the rural area where they hardly get a very clean water. So our idea is that we are going to, us in the FRST parts are going to come up with chemicals that going to help to treat the water, and at the same time we're going to install for the water consumption parts, and the people in the FIT will install or develop the IoT to like do detections for the detection limits of the contamination, so it will automatically release the chemical that we have prepared so that the water is always clean. They are regulated in there, so we don't need to be there to like treat manually, but the system will do for us. So that's the overall ideas what we have discussed just now. Maybe my other team members, if they have another points to add, they may do so. So that's the idea that we have pitched just now.
Okay, brilliant. Do you have a setting for this? Is there a place that you are targeting for the project?
We are targeting on the rural area. We don't have a definite area yet, but we understand that the people in the rural area need clean water, not only for consumption, but also for their crops and everything. So they might like sharing about just use what they can be, what source of water they found there. So it might be not safe for them to consume. So that's why we come up with this kind of idea. So that the water going to be safe for consumption at least, and it also can be used safely for their crops. So it won't affect on their, growth of their crops as well.
Right. Can someone just suggest satu tempat?
Hi, Dr. Fitri. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so because I've been working with the rural community, and then what we can do is probably the area in rural area sekarang ni banyak yang they have been invested into palm oil punya ni agriculture. So some of the area is around Semarahan. So maybe we can focus on Simunjan area. So probably that will be the nearest lah. Okay.
This is just for the exercise saja. Okay, thank you so much. Okay. Okay, can we have team 2, please? The second team. Those of you in breakout room 2. Siapa tadi ya? Dayang Erna, your team. Dancy.
Hello everyone. So we had a brief discussion just now about what we wanted to do. So there are 3 of us. So at least I know just 3 of us introduce ourselves just now. There is Dr. Zuraini, which is a family medicine specialist, and she mentioned that she was also a breastfeeding advocate, and also she advocate in COVID-19 lah. And there's also Dancy, which is an expert in conservation, and there's me, which is an expert in pharmacology. So my main interest is in natural medicine and also in sepsis complication. So since COVID-19 related complication is still an in thing, so we thought it is a good idea to then for us to disseminate information, correct information about COVID-19 and the correct use of alternative medicine. And we also plan to do an outreach program and likely in rural area also. So Dancy mentioned about one place that is not really a reachable place right now, which is Stengang, betul sih Dancy? Stengang in Bau. So that is like a proposed place lah where we want to start with our outreach program. Yeah, so the 3 of us can collaborate lah in like giving our expertise. And I think this will cover 2 different SDG, which is SDG number 3, good health and well-being, and also quality education, SDG number 4. So because we think that good education should be accessible to everybody. It shouldn't be exclusive to only for a certain group of people. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Diana. Can we have the 3rd team, please? This is Dr. Fatima Subed, Sharafina.
Don't mention my name. I was just a good listener just now. I guess Prof is in the group, right? Maybe Prof can mention something. I was a good listener and I enjoyed the opinion given by the others.
Silakan.
Assalamualaikum Dr. Fitri. Masa kami discuss tadi baru nak hangat sebenarnya baru nak hangat discussion, baru nak kenal. So basically we are going to touch on women empowerment, which is SDG number 5. As we all know, women empowerment, we need to cover on equality in terms of management ya. Kita melihat dari sudut pandangan dalam UNIMAS dulu, memang betul kata Prof Zainab, gender equality di UNIMAS sangat kelihatan ketara, tetapi adakah equality itu betul-betul setara dengan apa yang kita melihat dengan mata kasar? Jadi di sini we wanted to highlight on how women are called meticulous in administrative work. Okay, but what about men? Are they as meticulous as we are? So the question here is, are the works given to women are as the same power as the men receiving the task? Here I would like to also invite Prof Zainab to chip in kalau saya salah cakap ya. Does this women empowerment circulates fairly in all faculties? Adakah dia equal di dalam semua faculty in terms of management ya? Besides that, here also I note down in terms of paperwork, women are always the sole survivor and the backbone to create a good portfolio. But then again, when it comes to presenting it, it will be a man who is holding the wand, yeah, creating the magic to happen lah. So where are the equality here? So I would like to conclude that is there equality in equality for women in UNIMAS itself? Sorry, bro, Doctor. Am I right or am I wrong? Please correct me if I'm wrong. So here dia sebenarnya nak melihat adakah the equality itself itu memang equal di dalam administrative work di UNIMAS sendiri. Memang kita tahu, memang kita ada women empowerment lah, undeniably. Yep, that's all. Sorry, kalau saya lost sikit. Sayang.
Yeah, that's okay, Sharfina. Thank you so much. Team 4, breakout room 4. I think this is your group, Leonard.
Yeah, Leonard, go ahead, Leonard.
I'll let Hasnain do the lead lah. This is more on agriculture.
All right, we from our group 4 we have I think 6 of us. Myself, Dayang Aiza, Siti, Shari, Zulfa, Leonard, Suhaila, and Abdul Razak. Various diverse background in terms of our research area, but then we agree on something related to agriculture and smart farming because that I think can fit in several SDG, for example, on SDG 1, no poverty, reduce inequalities, 10 and 11, sustainable cities and communities, life on land. So several SDGs can be.
SDG 12.
Yeah, SDG 12
production.
as well. Yeah, responsible consumption and production. So these are the SDGs that we can agree on for agriculture, because we were talking about agriculture setup in which I can contribute in terms of the science, and then Leonard in terms of the STEM and also smart farming, as well as social entrepreneurship, indigenous knowledge by Suhaila and Siti and so on. So these are the setup that we have in which we didn't go into detail. We just getting to know, but then was kicked out of the room. So what we can say is that from our discussion, we can, based on the agriculture approach, we can more or less fit in almost everyone with several SDG targets that we can identify based on what we discussed.
Okay, good. Can you name me a place?
We didn't have any specific place that we discuss on.
Maybe I can assist Hasnain a bit.
Yeah.
Basically, if you're talking about paddy farming, it's mostly at the highland areas of Sarawak. So those are the areas where you know, the communities are basically managing the farming within their own land. And it's actually a dying, I mean, the traditional farming, paddy farming is actually a dying culture, because the young ones, they go to boarding schools, they see that, you know, their ancestors are doing, you know, hard work in farming, but then the income is very low, so they are not really that keen to continue that. So by improving on the agriculture and also to assist the economy in terms of the marketability of their products, in promoting, you know, traditional, you know, in other countries they're talking about organic. We can talk about traditional farming, because there is a huge difference between the barrio rice and also the baklalan rice right now, even though it's the same species. You see? So why? Because of one is traditional farming, one has already been converted into modern farming, so it affects the quality of the rice. Yeah. So the sad thing is, what I heard is that the barrio people are buying the rice from baklalan people to sell it. Yeah. So I mean, when we can.
Question. Sorry. Tempat. So which area do you want to?
Highland areas, actually.
Highland area, mana-mana lah,
Mana-mana, because there's a lot of village and they work based on the NCR land that is given to them.
If I may add, Dr. Fitri. Hello.
Yeah.
Dayang Aiza here. I think for this idea, we have a potential partner for this, which is science. They have been working on such CSR project, and they call it technopreneurship activities. They are focusing on documenting indigenous knowledge, at the same time making sure that the rural community are not deprived of advanced knowledge on STEM, technology, IoT or AI, but currently they are experiencing some hesitance on actually having to apply smart farming. So some of the communities would want to stick to a traditional farming. So this is, I think that this kind of project is suitable, I think, to pursue, in the sense that it could be a very good platform or avenue to actually promote, to preserve or traditional farming, at the same time to provide the sufficient exposure to smart farming. And where I think that in terms of the area for this project, as Leonard mentioned, I think that's the most suitable area, but there are also prospective areas that that particular project with science has already been tapped onto. And then I think that in terms of accessibility, that would give an added value, because they have kickstart the project earlier. So accessibility to the community and the place, and to pitch this at a bigger scale with such collaboration would be an ideal approach to pursue lah. Yeah, just an opinion.
Yeah, good. Thank you for the input, Aiza. That's very, very helpful. And I think kalau your project is selected for this apa nama, kita punya little work after this, then we can ni lah pursue it. Now, you are looking at the different topics that you have given me, yang daripada 4 team ni. Can you just vote for me? Yang mana yang you agree, can you put a tick? You can use the annotation tool on Zoom, and you can put a tick onto the ones that you want to pursue for the next round of our activities.
Takkan 4 teams dia tadi, Dr. Fitri?
Saya?
Is it only 4 teams just now?
Only 4 teams, yes. Ada 4 saja. Ada 4 saja.
Really? Oh, okay.
Kita pilih satu saja. You just put a tick, conteng lah macam mana pun, nanti kita kira.
I cannot tick, Doctor. What is the problem?
There is
I cannot tick also.
There is an annotation tool on your dashboard below. Can you see where chat is? There should be an annotation tool there.
You need to go to the top, view options. You see a view options tab at the top. You click on that one and you see the third one is annotate.
I have apps reactions.
No, at the top, view options. View options.
There is no.
At the top of your screen.
I think it's because we joined this one using a web-based, not the one that the install Zoom.
Oh, okay.
That's why you couldn't do annotation. Saya pun sama juga, Dr. Fitri, saya dapat pula annotation.
Oh, okay.
Dalam chat lah. Just type in the chat box.
Type in the chat box. We collect, yeah. Sorry, Suhaila, I didn't know.
Isi aja hal. Yeah.
Let's see.
Yang buat tik kat luar tu tolong masuk dalam kotak boleh?
Yeah. Yeah, about that. Yeah, I'm Nancy actually. About that idea, I like the idea from group number 4, but maybe we can cover to other places also, like in Bau, because the Bau people, they're also involved in the chili paddy planting.
Okay.
Yeah. Bagi idea sajalah.
Yeah. Nanti kita kembangkan the idea. Yeah.
Alright. Yep.
Thank you, Nancy.
Siapa yang tik besar sangat team 2 tu? Ini rindu marking ni.
Kan, semester belum start. Jacey, I think we have, it's either 3 or 4, isn't it?
Yeah, but I can't see. There is this bluey color.
That's 4.
I would assume that is 1, 2, 3.
The number of votes determine the winner to go to Italy ke Fitri?
I wish.
I
will
wish,
bring you.
yeah.
I will bring you if I could. Aduh. Dah berabuk dah suitcase kat rumah ni. Ramai buat empowerment ni.
15, 16, 17, 17. There's 2. 13, 14. Oh, okay. Now we have city plus 1. So project 4. Looks like it.
Okay.
Maybe not that. Sorry, there's a lot of star and love.
I know, right?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
It's a replication.
11, 12, 13, 14.
I have a suspicion it's the same person.
Yeah, I've got this feeling too. I'm just gonna count a tick. Oh, you clear it. So if it's just a tick,
oh dear.
It's love also count because love is more important than tick.
Yeah, it was earlier, it was 17, 17. Then from the text message, I've got 17, 18. So it looks like it's a tie actually between 3 and 4.
Oh,
one towards project 4. That was when I was counting. After that, I look up semua. Why so many love and hearts? So I count based on the tick and the earlier hearts. Okay, sorry.
Love and star should also be counted, I think.
The stars, yeah, but because if we count the stars, it will be project 3 before it got cut off.
Yeah, I think project 3 got the highest vote.
Yeah.
But I think project 4 is actually going to be interesting to break it open for the next activity. Bear with us kejap, let me.
I support project 4, but project 3, I want to claim the ticket to Italy, yeah?
Insya-Allah.
Nak juga.
Dah jadi student dah hari ni.
Tak adalah, we're not trying to teach you lah. You all semua dah pandai. So this is the link to the mural. So I think because of the different multifaceted nature of project 4, let's go to project 4, the agriculture and smart farming. Can you guys see the mural right now? You will be able to see a boat. This is called a lightning jam, decision jam. People are slowly coming in. Log in using your UNIMAS email, yeah?
We can wait for a bit.
Yeah. Are you able to come in?
Rasa orang hit signing up kan itu.
Maybe. Yeah, it's slowly coming in.
Yeah, you need to create a username. Kalau pakai UNIMAS email, this thing is free because we're subscribed to Microsoft. So you can use it for your classes as well. I use this a lot in my classes. Okay, there's a whole canvas here that you guys can explore. I'll give you a couple minutes to just get used to it. Start with the first one that you see, which is the boat. There's a question there already. Start with things that are working. So I need for the fourth group to help us populate this. So what do you know about the highlands? So the things that you were talking about tadi, Leonard and Hasnain, can you put it up in the sticky notes? You can put up as many sticky notes as you want. Just letak dekat sebelah boat tu kat luar tu.
Fitri, maybe you keep the mural. I can share screen. It says verify email. Sharafina. I log in using my Gmail. Then you just use any password, not any password. Make sure you remember your password, then you can repurpose this. If it's UNIMAS, it should work as well lah. Or perhaps expired maybe is the changing of password in UNIMAS that is going on right now.
Can I get Leonard, Hasnain? You guys are already in. Can you start with the sticky notes yang biru tu kat atas tu? Start with the blue ones. Can you tell us what you know already? Yeah, about the highlands, about smart farming. So just one idea, one sticky note. It doesn't have to be coherent yet. Yeah, we're gonna be pushing the sticky notes all over. So don't worry about getting everything correct. So what is it that you know? Macam Dr. Wong also knows about working in the highlands kan, issues about the communities and stuff like that. So you can just put it there. So tell us what works in that area first, not the problems yet. Yeah, what works in the area that you've chosen. So we're talking about the highlands of Sarawak. Yeah, everyone's with the cursors right now. Interesting. Okay, type something, pull out a sticky note and then type something. type about all the things that you know that are working, yeah, in the highlands. The next bit is going to be about the problem. So I haven't make it visible for you yet, but we're going to go there.
Fitri, I'm gonna text you Suhaila. Somehow she can't come in.
Okay, Jacey, let me try.
Suhaila, can you try your pakai Gmail tak?
Yeah.
Okay, boleh.
Sometimes it's because of the UNIMAS change of password ni, macam ada problem lah.
That could be the problem lah with that, isn't it? If you use your personal email, should be okay.
Okay, things that are working. It's not about the values of the project yet. Yeah, things that is working at that place, the highlands. What works at that place right now? So we're going to start with what we know. Yeah. Yes. Have you guys used this before, Mural? Tak pernah ke?
First time using this.
Okay.
Time Dr. Fitri, terkial-kial.
Dalam my PG Deep class last semester, I used this. So you missed that.
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm gonna make it visible to you the problems that you know. Can you see the problems, Jacey?
Not yet.
I've already enabled it.
Do I have to refresh it? Refresh. Not yet. Oh. Seda. Right. Out. No problem. Can't see on mine though, visually.
Yeah, it's
but the rest can, I don't think they can see as well.
I don't know. Can you guys see the capture problems at the bottom of the boat?
No, Dr. Fitri. We can only see the instruction on the right hand side, the capture problem, but the board is not yet.
Oh, okay.
Strange. It works yesterday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah.
There it is. Yeah. You see it? The second and the third one, I've enabled it.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Sorry about that. Kecilkan sikit farming tu. Sharafina. Okay. So now you have the things that is working on top. Now tell us what are the problems, because every research starts with a problem, kan? Jadi those of you who are coming in from the agriculture side, talk about the problem in the agriculture side. So satu problem, satu sticky note. Those of you who are coming in from say social science, you might want to write an issue that you know in the Highlands about the social problems. One sticky note, one idea.
Sibuknya semua orang cucuk tanam.
Yeah, Haslan, I do use Google Jamboard, but Google Jamboard dia tak ada templates. Jadi it has its own limitations as well, and I think we have a limitation of number of people as well untuk menggunakan Jamboard at any one time. So yeah, what I normally do kalau you can just type, yes, of course you can, Suraya. Tak boleh masuk Suraya?
Masih si dapat. Sial, sampai just type situ.
Okay, alright. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Yes, you can type there. I will type for you, Suhaila.
Thanks, Jacey.
Oh, I see.
Sorry, Fitri. I'm having problem in putting up the sticky note.
Where are you at, Leonard?
I'm at mural. Yeah, you see the big piece that is covering the capture all the problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just simply couldn't put up the sticky note. I type out the text, but then it just doesn't go there. Oh, there it is.
This one, private traditional farming.
Yeah.
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 It's because a lot of people are on it.
Yeah.
So I'm clearing some that is empty.
Okay. Are we done? Dr. Hasnain? Dr. Hasnain, are you here? Okay, I think we're ready. Dr. Hasnan, are you there? Okay. Now, we have a bunch of problems here. Now, can we read from the top dulu ya? Start with the things that are working. So if you are not able to log in, you can take a look at the screen that Jacey is sharing right now. You were talking about things that are working in Barrio. So it would be this. Barrio has a good brand recognition. Indigenous knowledge among the younger generation is probably alive. Yeah, and then you're talking about indigenous knowledge, exploration of indigenous knowledge. I'm putting it together in one side. To private traditional farming, what does that mean? Can we have a little bit of an elaboration about what this is?
Okay,
Private
basically, I was the one who wrote that. Basically, they're still doing it in a very small scale. And some of them are still more inclined to using natural fertilizers, like instead of the one that is like the chemical fertilizers that is by the government. So yeah, it's a more of a hard work for them to manage their own. It's something related to waste management as well.
Right.
So yeah.
Good. So I put together all the things that's related to farming and agriculture in one place, as you can see. Yeah, and all these things about what we know that works in the highlands. Yeah, about their efficiency in farming in the hilly terrain. There's also some notes here about the suitability of the landscape, and also projects related to the highland is in alignment with current committee and university initiatives, which is fantastic. So what you call it? From here, then we go to the problems. Yeah, I would like to get Prof. Zainab, can you help me? How would you link the ideas from here? There are many problems that have been written in the sticky notes here. Can you help me link them, group and link them? Rosanna?
What am I going to do, Fitri?
If you can take a look at the problems. Yeah. Cuba group them together, like what I did di atas tu. Group them together, lepas tu buat link antara one group of ideas and another group of ideas and see how we can expand from there. Oh, ada talan hayat. Dr. Hasnai, tolong.
I'm going to leave for UNIMAS soon, so I try to help as much as possible before I go.
Okay. Okay. I think you got it. How would you string this, Dr. Asnain? How do you string this to become a problem for a research project?
Oh, you mean the part where there is a problem with the transportation, is it?
No, for the whole thing. This is what has been provided by different people kan.
Okay.
They know what is a problem dekat Highlands. Jadi apa nama, how if katakanlah you want to start with the smart farming, smart farming as the main research idea, and to also utilize all of the other information that you will find out from the other fields. How do you would you put it together as a problem statement? Did you get what I'm saying?
What? I'm not that sure.
Okay. Macam ni saya bagi contoh kalau macam here dekat dalam problems ni belum ada yang berkaitan dengan smart farming. There's nothing yet about smart farming. It's talking about irrigation, talking about weather conditions. These are the closest lah that obviously affects what do you call it, the farming process itself kan. Tapi we are not looking at specific problems yet. Jadi the fundamental issues of which will, macam tadi Leonard was talking about, how do you ensure that the farming addresses macam organic, processes, katakanlah nak tanam secara organik. So where does that come in? So belum ada lagi yang item berkaitan tu. Tapi all these things yang kita nampak on the board right now are all about still practices which is relating to people. Yeah, this is all about people. I think you've already put everything about people here.
Yeah.
Low youth participation. Youth participation and interest is dwindling. Female involvement. Youth participation again is all about orang lah. Yeah, this is all about people. So yang recognition ni adalah berkaitan dengan yang tadi yang di atas, which is the brand. Yeah, if you look at yang atas tadi, kita bercakap tentang Bario has a good brand recognition.
Yeah, okay.
Tapi there is still a problem about not recognizing enough of the local produce. So there could be things that can be done along those lines. Yeah. And in terms of low added value in economics. Now, people in economics probably would be able to come in and also contribute to look at bagaimana the produce is managed by the local society, by the local community. So these are some of the things yang boleh dipecahkan. So you will be able to see that there will be issues related to the human, meaning the community, the persons who are involved in the farming, and then what are the activities that can help them to do it better perhaps, or improve the way that they're doing things. And from your side, for instance, you would be looking at your own expertise lah, yang mana what are the maybe innovative ideas in order to make their farming a bit more efficient perhaps, for them to be able to identify what kind of crops would be good at what time of the year, what kind of insects that would invade the farms in what time of the year, kind of things. Jadi dia macam nampak secara holistik lah. Jadi these are some of the activities that I hope that perhaps you guys can utilize lah kalau kita nak buat collaborative projects, across disciplines.
Cross discipline, yeah.
Yeah. So as you can see, it's not just about the science; it's also about the society. Yeah, and hopefully after that it will inform policy lah. So that's what we're trying to put together. I hope it makes sense.
Fitri, can I add one point?
Yes, saya.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I'm just probably speaking from my own point of view. I think in the recent years only that I started working with different researchers, not just within my field but also from other fields. A lot of times when we are trying to come up with proposals, we are actually centric to our own area first. So this is where I think that is actually a barrier, an obstacle for us to see how we can actually expand the areas. Like what we are doing right now through this mural is we are getting people from different areas to chip in, and you can see how wide you can actually expand from the scope that you can do. From the agriculture, is expanding to management of the water resources, talking about mitigating for flash flood and whatnot. So, and it extends all the way to economics as well. So if there's no supply demand that is being established, then how are we going to promote the local produce to be consumed by the locals? So those are the things that we are trying to look at. I mean, if we as a researcher, we want to, it is a bit more of like a translational research, as well as transdisciplinary research, kind of, if we are going to embark on something like this.
I hope that we are providing a perspective. This is not the only way to do it, obviously.
Yeah.
But those of you who have been to our gamification lab, you know how we like to use our sticky notes. So this is the best sort of way to sort of show bagaimana we can collectively think of an idea and to brainstorm, and after that to evaluate to see yang mana make sense. Yeah, like for instance, tadi Prof Zainab was talking about female involvement, tapi dalam administration di UNIMAS, which is the third group tadi. Now, if we bring that idea, about female empowerment, female involvement, the way that gender equality is being treated within an organization, we can also look at it from the community point of view. Like how does this translate kepada how the community is managed, by men and women within that community. So perhaps this is where we need people from social science, people macam Aiza who can talk about the communication theory, and to really understand how do people actually treat issues within their own spaces. So this is I think a nice way sort of for us to melihat secara general what kind of impact that we can make through our project. So it's not just about building some kind of a rain harvesting equipment, but actually to really understand what are the issues that make people do the things that they do, and what stops them from doing things that they probably should have done but did not do. So these are some of the ways that kita boleh interpret lah dalam our research proposal. So bila kita nak address all this SDGs kan, remember what I mentioned tadi earlier, impact is important. So bila kita address the research problem, think about the impact. Kalau if we look at the smart farming on its own saja, perhaps it's just maybe coming up with a formula, an intervention, something, a scientific equipment. But kalau kita buat and kita tak faham how the community actually works, then perhaps the equipment that we create for them or we bring for them will be left in the community, and nobody is going to take it up. And I think some of you have seen that, some of you who have gone and done community projects, how it is. Kadang-kadang dah habis project tu, the thing is left, that tak ada orang handle dah. Why? So I think kalau kita collectively tengok daripada mula, then perhaps we can plan better. So yeah, so that was the idea for this exercise. So
sorry. Yeah, I think Fitri mentioned something very the key point. Many times indeed we go in to the community with the project. It's not because of the need of the community, it's our need, and we think that we know better. But I think here is really finding out what actually is the problems And then once we can, the earlier words, remember when we talk about UNIMAS, the 3 words that keeps that you look at UNIMAS and communities driven projects, things like that. We need to have that interaction and finding out the problems from them. You would notice what our need for the project would also be shifted. There are ways actually to answer to the KPI of the funders, but at the same time, there is a need to shift it towards or for the community so that when we leave after the project, the reflection, the thinking in the community will move forward. That is why perhaps traditional farming, even you come in 10 times, 100 times, bringing in millions of dollars to the community, and when you leave, they will still come back to the traditional farming. That's one example lah. So in identifying the problems is really dissecting, and how can you use the solutions perhaps that you know, or a combination of solutions between yourself and the community, or the solutions from the community themselves they don't even know, to actually solve the problem. Just to add.
So if you're still in mural, you can scroll to the other side of the board. Yeah, I've made it visible for you to see the rest of the steps. So this is a very common sort of strategy that Jacey and I use in terms of ideating for ideas, ideating issues. But this is particularly, we found this particularly useful when dealing with multidisciplinary experts. Yeah, when we're talking about similar things, and the idea of using sticky notes, even you don't want to write a paragraph in sticky notes. You just want to write the keywords, and that also helps. Sort of you just point to what is important, and then from that, then you can have a conversation about it. And I think the most important tool in any research is the communication. Yeah, if we can't communicate that with the rest of our team, this is where kadang-kadang we find projects where we're just doing it solo because we're not talking to other people and we're not getting input from other people. So sayang lah, yeah. So after capturing all these problems, the next step is actually to vote. So again, it is an exercise to bring people together. Yeah, to know which are the sort of direction that everybody is comfortable with. Yeah, voting is, it makes us feel that we're part of the decision. Bukan not just the project leader leading the thing and then the project leader sort of decide everything. Tidak. Yeah, and remember the circle tadi, the ecology circle. So that's where we're trying to get at. Yeah, so everybody has a say as to how the project can be directed towards. And from there, if you go to the next bit, number 4 there, it's prioritizing the problem. So you have all those different types of problems tadi. So how do we prioritize? Kalau you feel that macam youth involvement is a super crucial thing that will impact smart farming, then what are you going to do about it? Yeah, how are you going to frame that in that project? What are the things that you will consider to make sure that smart farming will actually be sustained within that community? So perhaps the involvement of the youth ni kena tackle dulu dalam project tadi. So what do you call it? Then do it with the team, prioritize it, and this is where I think you can start framing for that proposals to make it holistic lah. Yeah, holistic. Then this is lepas tu then you can decide lah SDG mana nak ditanda, So that the impact tu has got to be clearly articulated by your team members, your proposed team members dulu, so that everybody is working towards a similar goal, but from different directions. The next one, number 5, reframing the problems as challenges. So how do you articulate this in your proposal itself? This is again bila kita dah tahu the prioritizing, what is it that is most important to make sure that smart farming happens, in the highlands. So how would you make this into become a task? So in our projects with the UK, dalam CreativeCulture and also dalam Asus, we call this work packages. So it's easier for us to manage how much time, how much effort, how much money we spend on every challenge within the project. So it's not just the Gantt chart, it's actually the way that the challenge is conceptualized, and how is it that we are going to articulate in order to achieve that challenge. So you can have 2 or 3 different challenges within a project, and you can have your own time frame just for each and every one of those work packages. We call it work packages, and then kalau ada macam dalam project kami, there's about 7-8 people, we assign, one work package would be ada seorang leader dia, one work package with seorang leader, so everybody feels that they are part of that the work. So it's not just Jacey seorang je bagi arahan lah basically. So it doesn't work that way in our team lah. If you go on to the next, is on ideation, without discussion. So this is from when you have already decided the challenges that you're going to have, how do you think you're going to execute? What are the things that you need? So this is where people will just throw ideas out, and then after that, again, as you see, number 7 is about voting. Voting for the solution, meaning that kita dah tahu these are the things that we want to do, these are the things that we can achieve, we can come up with interventions, for instance, but how are we going to do that in a way that everybody will again be part of that whole process. So get people to vote, get every team member to vote, so that again all voices are heard. Kalau ada yang tak setuju or whatever, memang it will happen, in any group. There always going to be arguments and tak setuju lah, rasa macam there's a different way to do it lah, that's normal. Tapi if we allow this process, this voting process to happen within our interactions with our team members, this is where I think the climate within the team is very positive. Because you learn to accept what is what is suitable, what is relevant within that group that you're working with. And the next part, which is number 8, bawah sikit Jacey, your prioritizing of the solution. So obviously when you know what you want to do, again you prioritize apa yang boleh buat within the time that you have, the effort that you have, the money that is granted. How much money, how kalau kita buat proposal, berapa persen is going to go into that. So decide, prioritize kan, mana yang paling penting dulu. Macam katakanlah buat smart farming, you want to come up with some kind of intervention where you have to build an equipment, for instance, particularly because it's in the highland katakanlah. So you need time to build the equipment, you need time to build that instrument. So but at the same time, you know that you can't just build the equipment without getting the support from the committee, and particularly macam tadi kita dah identify the youth is an issue. Youth involvement is an issue. So perhaps there could be like 2 work packages working together, in parallel, meaning that one group will be looking at the technical bit, another group would actually be looking at the social bit. So it can work in tandem. So bila sampai kepada time when you want to roll out your equipment, your community is actually already ready. So this is one of the ways as to how this can be gauged so that it becomes coherent lah. So kita tak tunggu for one to or the other to start or begin first or end first and then you start the next one. So and the last part of the thing here, you need to decide how is it that you want to execute. I'm running through this because I don't want to keep you guys too long here. Effort and impact, Yeah, I mentioned this earlier juga tadi, depending on, the severity of the problem and also how much is it that you are able to do. So decide how you're going to place or position your effort and also the impact that you're trying to achieve. And bagaimana, how is it going to be scheduled, calendarized in your project. What comes first? What comes next? Is it logical? Is it coherent with what happens on the ground? I'm reminded of a project that was done by Dr. Faisal, right? FSS, he left already, he's in UKM now. He was tasked to do engagement, social engagement dengan people in Pulau Larapan in Sabah. Beautiful island, lived by the Bajau, and for him to come and to communicate with the community, it took him almost, I think, 2 years just to get in and be accepted. So these are the kind of work that is not really something that we can put on a research proposal. People don't want to wait until 2 years for you to be able to talk to people. Tapi because of that work that has been done, we were able to set up a telecenter at the island when everybody said it could not be done. So these are some of the things yang have got to happen, and we need involvement from different people in order to make the solution work for that community. So and the last bit from the lightning decision jam here is how do you make the solutions actionable? Jacey, can you make it a little bit bigger? Yeah, I'm just running through this, guys. Yeah, so if you have decided on your solutions and how you're gonna, your step-by-step lah, macam mana nak execute and stuff like that. So again, it depends on the priorities that you are deciding for the project. So yeah, so essentially kalau kita ada masa, we would like for you to go through all this, but I think it's a bit too long today, and people are tired already, and it's almost lunchtime. Yeah.
Dr. Fitri.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think the exercise that we are doing now using mural is one of the best example for example, let's say we want to design a new proposal later on, which can encompass multidisciplinary research, right? But one thing is that the inclusion of multidisciplinary facets of the research depends on the funder. That is one, and then scope of research that the researchers would like to work upon, isn't it? And another thing is the inclusion of sustainability. One of my I think comment that I would like to make is that inclusion of sustainability in the project can be done at two levels. One is at the personal level, and second one is at the administrative level, for example, of the institution. Of course, if the funder requires sustainability aspect, then it is fine because it is explicitly mentioned by the funder. So straight away, we can include the sustainability aspects in the proposal. But for us, for example, let's say if we as a university would like to include the sustainability aspect so that UNIMAS is known as the university that practice sustainability, not only that we are known now, for example, with the external stakeholder, but also for other area in teaching and research. So that is where the decision level at the personal and administrative or institution comes in, isn't it? Because probably at the funder, they do not mention about requirement of the sustainability, but then because all over the world, and as we all know now, that sustainability is one of the area that is of concern, and even though it is not explicitly mentioned, we as an individual contributing to the institution should include sustainability aspect in the proposal. So, for example, I can say that at the moment, the workshop by USC is good because it gives awareness to us, especially those who are participating today, that sustainability is important. We should include, so that will come at personal level. But even though the UNIMAS, RIEC, for example, didn't say that you must include sustainability aspect in your research proposal for whatever grant that we are going to evaluate, there are expert panel at the university level, isn't it? Although at the moment there is no explicit requirement, I think at least at the personal level, we should include the sustainability criteria in our proposal. And then if we want to include, then we can, for example, use this kind of exercise, how we can include that, so that our proposal will be strong, not only in the area that we want to do research on, but it is also strong in terms of inclusion of the sustainability criteria in our proposal, right? So that's all I want to say.
I completely agree with you. But I don't think, as I mentioned earlier, tadi, we're not speaking on behalf of the management of the university at all. We're just regular people doing regular research and trying to do the best that we can. What we are advocating today, I guess, in some sense, is the personal sense of commitment to want to try to do sustainability sort of elements into what we're doing. Jadi we're not like macam nak buat just for the sake of nak buat research, and then saya tak claim, saya dengan Jacey tak claim yang kami tahu semua, tidak. I'm sure all of you have more challenging projects than what we are doing, and we're just sharing with you cara lah as to how we can do this at our sort of team level. And we find that this works, and if you think that this is beneficial, gunakanlah. Ilmu is not something that we want to keep and we want to spread it out. Jadi itu je lah yang I think, kalau nak bawa the conversation up to the management, I think USC is the best platform to do that. Mungkin Syafiq, Rafi'ah and Norazia can put together something and then make it to become something that is recognizable, tapi also translated into the policies that we already have dalam the campus, not just dalam research, but also things that we are doing dalam campus itself. I think that is more important, isn't it, bila kita nampak visibly how the university actually cares about the people within the campus first. So I think
the effort by USC should be commendable, because to me this one, once we are in the banker like this, so it comes at personal level for inclusion of the sustainability, right? So because the requirement not necessarily top down, isn't it? It can be bottom up. So we are the one who should promote at the our level, so that university then realize or this group of researchers who include sustainability in their proposal, although at the administrative level we didn't say that we want it, right? So it will be good at least at our personal level for that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. And I think our last slide, Jacey, can we have the team members? Are you all here? Let me see. I know Leonard is here. Leonard, Farah, Floriana, are you guys here? Azani?
Azani is with me here.
Okay, good. Yeah. So before we end, the last slide, Jacey. Oh, can we show the video? Can we show the video?
This video.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me just play it. Oh, hold on. No sound. Why no sound?
You can unshare first, and then when you reshare, you can click share computer sounds.
Unshare. Unshare. Let me try again. Okay, it's still. There must be a certain setting that went off. Speaker, same as system, test speaker. I switched off the Bluetooth. Bluetooth all off. Audio setting.
Can you do it?
No, I'm not so sure. There is sound, but I'm not so sure why it's not playing.
Kerajaan, NGO does not mean that you know everything.
Now, Doctor.
It's the society that knows the problem. And the society knows how to solve their problem. Bukannya orang macam kita yang study dekat Harvard, yang study dekat Yale, pergi ke Oxford, pergi ke Cambridge, datang tegeh-tegeh, datang 2 hari, 3 hari, bawa borang soal selidik, tanya soalan. Lepas tu, cuba menyelesaikan masalah orang kampung. Orang kampung tu duduk di situ berkata-tahun dah. Lepas tu tegeh-tegeh kita pergi ke kuasa orang asli. Ajar orang asli macam mana nak buat ni. Lepas tu orang asli tak buat, kita marah. Kita kata dia malas, kita kata dia macam-macam. You jangan tanya dia soal selidik. Makcik, berapa peratus makcik belanja untuk disposable income makcik? Berapa disposable? Makcik tu disposable income tu tak tahu apa benda. Inilah masalah dia. Apa kita nak cakap dengan apa orang tu faham. Totally macam langit dengan bumi. Itulah dia. Bila nama you ada Harvard lah, Yale lah, Oxford lah, macam-macam. And we thought that we know everything. Sorry. The real world is out there. The real university is out there. It's not in the university. What you learn is only 4 tahun aja. Orang tu dah miskin berpuluh-puluh tahun. And you nak datang satu malam aja bawa soal selidik tu. Sekarang lagi lah tak payah pakai soal selidik. Pakai Google Doc aja. Suruh dia isi. Macam tu lah masalah kita. You know, dalam economics we call it we and them. Kita ingat kita tahu segalanya. Sebab kita ada, kita ada bachelors, kita ada masters. Dr. Madeline ada PhD. And we think that we know everything about their life. Dan kita pun buatlah program untuk dia. Macam kami buat program kami kat Sarawak, buatlah program untuk orang pendan. Sekali bila tanam, menanam. So tanam barang. Kali pegawai pertanian datang 3 ke 4 bulan kemudian, tengok semua dah mati dah. So dia tanya, kenapa mati? Dia kata, mana kami tahu you yang tanam. Kami tak ada tanam. So habis. So there goes permanent crop. And satu lagi masyarakat dekat Sabah, rupanya budaya dia tidak boleh menyangkul. Menyangkul means you menggali kubur. So segala bentuk aktiviti yang melibatkan cangkul tak jalan. So kalau you nak bagi kat dia ayam je.
Okay.
Yeah. So we thought it's nice to listen to, what Dr. Madeline, if you don't know Dr. Madeline, I think she is a visiting professor at Institute Borneo Studies right now. Yeah, and she's done quite a bit of work with the communities and she's sharing, the perspective that she saw when researchers go down, to meet with the community. So banyak misconceptions lah yang berlaku. Kadang-kadang kita bawa, saya sendiri pernah bawa 40 pages survey, and I knew it didn't work because the questions are really, tak kena dengan the community itself. So yeah, can we have the team, Jacey, now?
All right, sure.
Yeah.
Team. I'm going to.
That's all I am to you.
I'm going to remove my background. So I'm in the lab. Let's just stop sharing. Do you still want to share this, Fitri?
Tak perlu kot.
Okay, we're just.
Floriana, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Rafi asked us hi.
This is my second home.
I'm gonna charge you soon.
I'm adding spotlight right now. Sekejap, eh?
Okay.
So if anyone have any questions, you can ask us. I think most of our team members are here.
Salah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Farah is here too.
Add spotlight. Farah. I can't add spotlight.
I'm trying to pin Farah. I can't do it. Yeah, so I think most of us are here. And if you have any questions, you can ask us now. Does anyone have any? You can unmute yourself.
Hey, malu pula.
Anyone?
To all the participants, if you have any question, we can ask to the team at Creative Cultures.
Floriana.
You can also type on the chat box if you feel shy, but please you can ask directly to them now.
There's one. Please share some of the funding agencies for this multidisciplinary research. Yeah, I think what we did is maybe we took the right steps like in the beginning. During the first vice chancellor time, Dato' Zawawi, when we went off to study, he and the top management of those days always reminded us who were going off, jangan you mingle dengan orang Malaysia aja. Always mingle with the foreigners, the locals there, and build connections, build friendships. And that was what we did. I think we had a lot of friends everywhere around the world. And then how we get to know all these funding agencies, you can search, you know, where we are now, you can search for it and try to apply. But many times you would notice that a lot of international funding would require the principal investigator to be from where the funding is from. Let's say in the UK, so the main one has to be from there and they were dispersed. So there is a lot of trust that you need to build. So the friendship that we have built is no longer collaboration. We built friendship through a lot from our research. And that was how we came in now with all these different funding. We do not even mind, you know, if let's say it was a 1 million grant and we are only getting 20,000, we don't mind, you know, as long as the conversation was what we enjoyed most with the rest of the team from everywhere around the world, because we tried to capture their cultures, their intelligence, their brain. That was what we wanted. So as long as you have that, I think you can get all your funding easily. So if it's like you go like, oh, saya sudah habis sudah professor already, and then you it's still not too late. There is still a lot available of funding. We still can apply, but again, like Dr. Faisal went to Larapan 2 years to build the relationship. It's still not too late. Build the relationship now. The time will come, your door will be open. Suddenly you will have a lot of relationship, a lot of funding that comes with it, a lot of blessing. Yeah.
But you got to be good in what you do.
Yes.
You got to be good. Dia tak boleh macam sikit-sikit je tahu, no. You got to be good. So that's the reason why people will seek for your expertise. So you know, make known what is it that you know. Jangan work with just the same group all the time, you know, break the mold, find other collaborators. There's plenty of people on campus. Kadang-kadang we just don't know where to start, you know, maybe bawa minum kopi dulu lah. you know, masa COVID ni mungkin kena pakai mask dululah ya. But what you call it, build the relationship, yeah, and then from the relationship then we can build trust, and I think trust in the research process is very important, because we don't think similarly, like you see us now, we come from different disciplines, and you know we have different qualifications. Like Leonard is from Cambridge, you know, if you ask me 20 years ago if I can work with somebody from Cambridge, memang saya takut lah, you know. I don't think I'm up to that level. Tapi you know, now we're working as colleagues. I'm learning a lot from him. I think he's also learning something from me as well. Jadi I think we have to get to that level where we build that trust, where we are open to build that trust with our research partners. Then the kerja will work. So yeah.
Do we know how many young researchers we have here, early stage careers? Do we have a lot of early research careers?
Maybe they can put up their hands. One.
Early stage. Maksudnya you are still within 8 years of your PhD. And if you have kids in between, then you can tambah 2 tahun lah. So it could be anywhere up to the last 10 years. Yeah.
No, up to 10. 10 years already too long. Maybe
No,
8.
they give 8 years plus 2. That's the European.
Then
EU
me lah. I'm also young.
Anak kucing tak kira. Anak kucing tak kira. Anak benar-benar. So macam Rafiq masih kira young researcher sebab you 4 anak kan. 8 tahun. 8 tahun tambah 8 tahun from your PhD. So 16 years actually. Okay, So in Europe, they have a lot of big grants. I will pick the European punya grant as a good role model because in Europe, they do not have any restrictions based on race or religion. So I think it's a very good one to aim for. And they actually have a portal where you can register yourself on Euraccess. So if you register there, then people who are looking for partners in Asia or countries of interest will come and search for you as well. And the ERC grants and Young Research Career Grants, Marie Curie grants, I think Dr. Zainab and Hasnain are familiar with it too. The opportunities are actually very wide. I would like to share a little bit because the Euraccess Asia punya boss, the director is actually a friend of mine. And she told me that 80% of grants from Malaysia are not Malaysian. They're actually foreigners. They come here or lecturer daripada luar negara yang based in Malaysia that use Malaysia as a platform to get the grants for work done in Malaysia. So macam kita rugilah. They actually prefer to give it to Malaysians because it's capacity building. But they are not biased based on race. So if the proposal is good, they will also give it to their foreign lecturers. So the foreign lecturers like to come to Malaysia and use Malaysia as a platform to actually build their careers and then later on hop to Canada or Australia for their careers. So they actually do work in Malaysia and then leave. So it's a loss for us because 80% of the grants that are meant for Malaysians are used by foreigners. I just want to highlight that because that is a fact that I know about the EU grants that are for the young researchers. So actually there's a lot. I think one of the SDG goals is partnership. And we really have to capitalize on that we have a lot of young career researchers, even based in UNIMAS, who come from really good universities and had really good research, but mungkin kita rasa like we are frauds ke, we are malu, you know, and so we don't want to highlight ourselves, but in the end, we have to kind of push ourselves forward lah. And if you feel shy to do it alone, then we have to build our circle of influence. That means build a team and apply for the grants as a strong team. And then I think the chances are actually very high that we can get more for UNIMAS. Yeah, I just want to add on that lah, because I know that is from the horse's mouth. Actually, EU banyak grant, but we are not applying. Yeah.
It's good to know.
Yeah. That's insider trading.
Okay, thank you. Any other question from the participants?
Can I ask, comment or question over here? first of all, thank you very much. Congratulations, such a great team from different faculties. This is what actually awesome group that should be many more groups like this. Well, such an excellent. So my suggestion, if that possible, if you guys create a page in Facebook or something that, you know, ask people to like and share or something. So we, of course, I want to be one of the follower. So we see actually what's actually going on, because I know this group, you have gotten this grant, such a big grant. And I always personal message to Fitri, such awesome. And then, you know, suddenly disappear, you know, after one day, it was in the UNIMAS announcement, and then disappear. Is not in our in everyone's mind. So I was thinking, if your group sustainable in terms of, you know, to the announcement message to everyone to be aware the existence of your awesome team, and we follow what's actually you guys doing, and motivate other people to join the same. That's really be big awesome. I like it. I think that's the way that one of the way to motivate other people, young researchers, to follow the footprint that you guys has already started with. So that's my comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Zainab. Yeah, we do have a website actually, and also a Facebook and a Twitter account that we manage, and we do regularly update. Cuma there are some bits of the activities that we cannot announce yet because they belum siap, and we sort of like tak nak jump the gun yet lah. If you are coming to FIT, FCSIT right now, you can see our bus is on the way. We managed to nudge the Datuk Vice Chancellor to give us an old bus that he was trying to get rid of, and he gave it to us for free. It still has its road tax actually on the bus, tapi kami decide tak nak mobile kan. So it's going to be a fab lab. So we're going to have STEM-based experiments yang boleh digunakan oleh visitors, ya. And we hope that would also encourage you to want to work with us as well. Jadi we are not close to just working with our own team. We are also open to work with other people as well. Jadi if you feel that they are macam avenues where you would like to also highlight your work, but in the way that menggunakan kami punya approach, which is the playful frugal approach, we most welcome these ideas. Jadi we are constantly looking for ideas to expand the R&D in gamification. So yeah, thank you for that.
She's finding everything. You're right, Azrina, you're finding all. Yes, CreativeCulture.my. I think Twitter as well. I forgot now.
Yes, thank you, Azrina.
I like you, CSI.
Ya, kami ni pemalu semua ni. Ya, silakan. Ada lagi soalan? Farah.
Dr. Fitri.
Saya.
Assalamualaikum.
Salam Aiza. Congratulations, dah habis belajar.
Terima kasih banyak. Alhamdulillah. I don't have any question, just a comment lah. Thank you to the organizing team. I think this is this excellent platform for exposure, especially for young researchers like me, yang si banyak pengalaman, masih perlu banyak belajar. And I think that the approach used in this training was very engaging and is very one of a kind lah in terms of the dynamic. And then dari masa pun masa spend on the activity pun sit lama gila, sit lagging. So I think that it was very well managed. Hai Azani. Apa khabar? Sarang Yeah, jap lah. Just a quick question. Moving on from this workshop, what's next? Yeah, I would be interested to know what's next moving forward. Thank you.
Itu Rafiah kena jawab. Rafiah dengan Syafiq kena jawab.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dayang Aiza. For the next step is tomorrow we have another more workshop, Bengkel Dana Lestari, and you can also check out in our Facebook page. And we also have a series of webinars to be included in our calendar until end of this year. And from time to time we will announce to all the UNIMAS staff what we're going to do next on the webinar itself. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to add on to what Dr. Syafiq mentioned just now. Actually, on the 13th of October, we'll be having a playful design thinking workshop. It's a 3-hour session with Dr. Fitri and also Dr. Jacey. We learn how to do the design thinking using a gamification approach. I think am I right, Dr. Fitri? I think so. So we welcome everyone to join us. We'll blast the invitation later on. And I hope through these initiatives, through these trainings, we all can, have some basics on how to incorporate SDGs into our research. And I think Dr. Fitri and team, they are all welcome us if we want to have any discussion on our future ideas, collaboration with them. I think this truly we truly appreciate that. Thank you.
So any other
more questions? Sama. I have ideas as well, but I think I'm like other participants as well. Memang malu lah, betul lah. And macam geran, iklan geran tu semua. Actually, I see it, but I just let it go because I don't know what to do with all the advertisements. I think I miss a lot of opportunities. So after this, we'll discuss. We'll discuss. Maybe more bengkel like this, how to do the proposal, how to, get those grants opportunities. Thank you so much, Tazani, for highlighting that we don't really utilize the grant opportunities coming to us in Malaysia.
Yeah, I think USC may play a major role in placing sustainability, in campus. Jadi mungkin you can bring this in your own conversations at the center. Just a suggestion lah ya, Rafiah and Syafiq. How do you buat macam activities ataupun policies yang berkaitan dengan no one is left behind. How do you translate that into things that people can visibly see, on campus. I think this is one of the things yang kita nak tengok lah sebab dah ada center kan on sustainability. Jadi what are the things that can be done in order to make sure that everybody on campus is taken into account for and that nobody is left behind. Jadi gender equality and stuff like that. Mungkin ada issues ni berlaku on campus. That's the reason why I think Team 3 just now highlighted this. Jadi and I'm sure there are other issues as well. Cuma it needs a little bit of thinking lah ya. And then to put it together so that the rest of us who are working on different types of research, we can also gauge on the sort of holistic university policies yang merangkum kepada ke arah sustainability as well. Jadi it cannot work on just relying on the academics. The PPs, I think I've mentioned this to you guys before this, the PPs has got to also do their part to be part of the that whole picture. Dia tak boleh macam just depend on academics, sebab academics dia boleh buat research. No, the PPs has got to find their own roles, design their own roles to contribute towards the community-driven university that we have. So yeah, banyak kerja ni Rafiq dengan Syafiq.
Ya, tiba-tiba rasa berat dekat bahu. Cik. Okay, participants, ada lagi soalan sebelum kita maybe one or two more questions before we wrap up, I think.
Hi, Dr. Fitri. Sorry. Yeah, Dr. Fitri, Florina, Leonard, Jacey, Zani, and Farah. Congratulations for hi. Thanks, guys, for this one. But again, we managed to grasp a lot of things for today, especially when we try to focus on the what I call international grant. And we want to read because it's quite new for us, particularly when we try to understand what are the factors that attribute to the success of attaining this grant when we try to talk about sustainability, because people are talking about sustainability. And when we try to look into it, sometimes for us as a researcher, we need to know what is the limits of overdoing or underestimating a certain aspect of sustainability to be achieved in our proposal or the things that we propose for a project. Because sometimes we tend to have a lot of things to achieve, but again, it is not clearly justified. So is it are there any guidelines or tips that you guys could share to us in case that we try to make sure that our proposal is strong enough? Because sometimes people will say, oh, why don't you have these things? Because we do understand from yesterday, as shared by Florina, we do have the importance of linking the SDGs with others. And sometimes we tend to lose certain aspect of how are we going to justify this thing because it's not related to that, what we're supposed to achieve. So maybe any of you might have some ideas or tips on how are we going to justify how much SDG that we should put in our proposal, so that it will be like, is it too little or is it too much to be put inside, so that we can come up with a very strong project to be proposed, especially for the external funders that we have at the international level. So maybe Dr. Fitri, our teams could respond to that. Thank you.
I think as Azani or Leonard, can you guys take this question?
Azani.
Okay, that's a good question. It's about scope lah, basically, right? So I would like to ask Ben back to reflect on his previous work that he's been doing that has been successful. What kind of scope has been successful to achieve grant, one thing, and also then to close the grant? Ben?
Oh yeah. So like me myself, my focus is more on the economic, economic achievement. So that is the main strength that I'm looking for. But again, there are a lot of things that we have to look into. But during that time, for me, my focus is only into one SDG. So because here we are talking about a small grant that we have. But when we try to look into international, that's create a concern, because that's what we do understand. People nowadays, even in any other agencies, they do talk about SDG, but sometimes they misperceive about SDG itself. So like us who are quite expert in this area, per se, we tend to defend it, but again, we can't really defend it because the funders themselves, they do really want to, they do have their own objective based on what they really want. But for us, our proposal is just the sake of proposal. So that's worries us in that sense. So I hope I managed to answer Azani's question related to my experience on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you answer your own question already.
Yeah.
Yeah, the funders have their alignment every time, every call. And we have to find how our alignment then fits to theirs. So it's aligning ours to theirs as well. You don't always have to change your focus or your scope, but you have to align to what is it they want. So I think you actually answer your own question. So looking forward, I would like to pose to you, maybe you'd like to think about who would be good partners for you to bring your proposal forward, to be successful for more money. What would you think is the first step you can do starting tomorrow? And in 2 weeks' time, can you look back and see, can you achieve that in 2 weeks' time? So Ben, maybe you want to elaborate a bit. So it's a bit of an exercise. I know
Yeah,
we're
no worries,
kind of backtracking.
I
Yeah, but
enjoy this kind of exercise. Yeah. Yep, sure do.
Yeah, what you can do tomorrow in terms of picking a partner or who can help you to enhance. So you say you have links with some industry and government agencies or NGOs. So maybe start highlighting partners which you think can add to your grant. I think that's also a very good process for us to reflect. So kita tidak shock sendirilah do work. And I think that's what makes this Asus team actually quite exciting, because we actually come from different disciplines. So even simple thing like definition, for me, a definition of a certain word is very different from Floriana's or Farah's or even Leonard's definitions. And so we actually challenge each other to even something considered fundamental, to rethink it and reframe it so it makes it more inclusive for other readers. And I think it really comes out in the proposal later. If you have gone through that process, a reviewer who reads it will know it. So maybe you want to try that tomorrow with some of your partners, and in 2 weeks' time look back to review how has that changed.
Okay, thanks.
I would like to add in one more thing to that. I think one of the key things that get us going also is our willingness to commit and also to communicate what we think. That is something which is very is a key to putting the right things into the proposal. And proposals is not just like suddenly you receive an email from RAC saying that there's an opportunity for proposal, ask you to submit in 2 weeks or 1 month time. It's not something as simple as that you can come up with a good proposal within that short span of time. Yeah, so and sometimes it doesn't mean that a good proposal will be accepted or a bad proposal will be rejected. So it's just like publication as well. It depends on your luck as well. Yeah. So yeah, to have a good team, you need to really choose team members who is willing to commit and communicate. In the research culture thing, that's the thing that we are looking forward to all the time.
Thank you, Leonard.
Yeah.
So I want to add something as an early career researcher like me. Sometimes we don't know where to start actually, because you talk about the multidisciplinary research across the faculties and universities. So do you have any suggestion or advice to an early career researcher like me on how to start the this multidisciplinary research? How sometimes I personally don't recognize all the researchers in UNIMAS itself, because I just started working with UNIMAS for almost 2 years right now. So do you have any advice on this, maybe from the team?
I think you're in a very good position at USC.
Yes, exactly. You're already placed there where you have access to all academics actually, and it's a wonderful opportunity to to get to know people. Do a good job while you're holding the post. Yeah, academics like you, like Rafi, I've been there before. I've been doing admin work for the last 20 years. I got sick of it, but it gave me a lot of access to a lot of people. Yeah, don't screw up the job. Yeah, you are given a trust to do the role, do it well, but expand as you go along. But to do that, you need to read. You need to read more than other people. Do not ambil instructions saja, and then just go along with it. Tidak. No, that's not how it works. So people appreciate when you add value to the job. So bila people nampak value kita, then people will want to connect with us. When you don't bring anything to the table, this is, I think, quite simple jugalah. All the researchers that I've been working with, I always ask them, what is it that you're bringing to the table? If you're nothing, janganlah masuk. because there's nothing that that's going to be built on. I cannot ride on other people kan. Jadi kita kena bawa something to the table. So create your worth. You have all the opportunities to create your worth. Find out who are the people yang boleh mentor you. Jangan cari seorang je mentor, carilah a few mentors. Ask for advice. They may be things that you don't know. At this point, I wish I had a mentor when I started. I tak ada mentor langsung.
Me too.
I had to grasp my way, and I made a lot of mistakes while I was in this career. Tapi you live, you learn lah, And tapi what I always stress pada young researchers, young academics, read. Jangan tak baca. You cannot be behind in the things that you are teaching in your research. You cannot go and nak join the research group. Tak boleh. Yeah. And many people ask us about how do we get these international grants. You know what? It takes at least 1 year for us to develop the proposals. So it's not something yang REC keluar email and then you hantar. No, it doesn't work that way. Yang proposals yang half baked kita boleh nampak. Yeah, and then now I'm sitting in the FRGS expert panel for KPT. I can see it. Research grant yang dibuat dalam masa 2 minggu dan research grant yang dibuat for a long time, because you can see the idea is actually developing and you can see the worth. Immediately you can see the worth. So it takes a lot of time. It's like good wine lah. You need to simpan for a while, So yeah, does that make sense?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Fitri.
Yeah.
I can relate to Dr. Shafiq's standpoint, but that's why I think what I value most from this quorum was it is nurturing, in the sense that it is not intimidating like some workshop that we experience as young lecturers. I think that like what Dr. Fitri mentioned, Dr. Shafiq is in the most ideal position to seek mentorship. That is something that I have at this early stage of career, I am seeking for one. And in my time in FSS, I was very lucky that Dr. Pauline Bala gave young researchers the opportunity to be part of her TIPWA project. So, and I think that at this time, I think that we were very lucky. I'm very lucky that the faculty for FBK, we were assigned to this what do you call that, workshop actually. We Puan Malia calon untuk masuk. So I think this came at the best timing for us to understand SDG and for us to be mindful of how we can actually do a research proposal with an impact where and keeping in mind how we can align what we do with SDG from the get-go. So yeah, that's all I want to say. Thanks.
Thank you, Sharafina. Can we get a feedback from other participants? So any other questions or feedback you want to share before we end our workshop today? Oh, Dr. Rafi'ah is suggesting maybe we can take a photo with all the participants. Okay, so can you please open all your videos? Maybe you can take a screenshot. In total we have 37 participants. Okay. So, Nana, can you take the photos? Nana? Okay. So
Okay.
please smile,
Is
everyone.
everyone ready? We have 2 pages saja. Okay.
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3. All right, second page. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nana. So before we end our session for today, maybe Dr. Fitri or Dr. Jacey would like to wrap up anything for your session today?
Fitri is waiting for me. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We hope you remember the keywords when you want to work on SDG and research. Of course, the end product is always impact. And I think someone mentioned earlier, I wrote it down somewhere, whether is it a personal level or administrative level. I think today's talk, today's workshop is very much on personal level, hence the nudge. So I think if you can empower yourself, the awareness comes in, empower, changing of thinking, that is already the first step. And that itself is already the SDG. So don't give up. All the hurdles that you face is part of the SDG, you becoming resilience. Okay, so that's it from us. Thank you so much to the center, Usability Center, for inviting us.
Thank you, Associate Professor Dr. Fitri Suraya and also Associate Professor Dr. Jacey, our speaker for Module 3, Integrating SDGs in Research. And I would like to take this opportunity also to thank to all the participants for our 2 days workshop. Thank you so much for your time, for joining our workshop, 2 days workshop today. And Dr. Rafi'ah, would you like to add anything before we end up our session?
Tak ada apa-apa, Dr. Syafiq. Terima kasih kepada semua speakers dan peserta. Itu saja.
Okay, thank you so much. So again, I would like to remind that we still have another series of Bengkel, especially tomorrow we have a Bengkel Dana Lestari, and also on within this month also we have a playful design thinking. Again, we will meet Dr. Fitri and Dr. Jacey during the Bengkel. And I think that's all from us, USC. Thank you so much to everyone, and please take care of yourself and stay safe. Okay. See you everyone. Thank you.